Hi guys, Mrs. Gossett here. Today I wanted to go over helping verbs. So in video 3 we actually were introduced to helping verbs using this helping verb song. Let me go ahead and sing it really quick before we get started. So it's right here. It goes to the tune of Jingle Bells, and it is helping verbs, there are 23. Am, is, are, was, and were, being, been, and be. Have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, and would. There are 5 more helping verbs: may, might, must, can, could. And that is the song that I play in my classroom often just to get students to kind of familiarize themselves with the actual helping verbs. And in video 3, we learned that a helping verb supports the main verb. It kind of gives us a little bit of detail as to when the verb happened, if it happened yet, is it going to happen. And when you have a helping verb and a main verb together in a sentence, such as down here, had eaten, might visit, is training, that helping verb and main verb put together is called a verb phrase. So once we move on to actually having helping verbs in sentences, I'm not going to ask you to find the verb as often as I used to. I'm going to move on to asking students to find the verb phrase. So what I might ask students in the classroom is, what is the subject and what is the verb or verb phrase? What is the subject? What is the verb or verb phrase? Because I want them to remember that there might be a helping verb hidden somewhere in the sentence. Now, where would you find a helping verb? It's always going to be before the main verb. Before the main verb. So when we ended video 3, I gave you a heads up that although these sentence examples here have the helping verb and main verb side by side, and you can see not only within the sentences to the left, but also in the diagrams. Sometimes they're going to be separated, and that's called an interrupted verb phrase. And that's what this video is going to be about. So the reason why I decided I'm not going to do any actual diagramming in this 4th video is because that's going to come up in later videos, and I don't want to throw students off right away by introducing it too early. The only thing I want you to focus on for today's video is kind of wrapping your mind around the fact that sometimes the helping verb is directly before the main verb, and sometimes it's not. Now, even if it's not directly before the main verb, it's always going to come before it. It's going to be somewhere before it. So let's look over this together. It says multiple helping verbs. Sometimes there is more than one helping verb in your verb phrase. I should have studied harder for the test. So video 3, all our examples only had one helping verb in it. Had was our helping verb. Eaten was the main verb. Might is the helping verb in this sentence. Visit is the main verb. He is training for a marathon. Is the helping verb, and the main verb is training. Sometimes there's more than one helping verb though. So in this example, I should have studied for the test. Who or what is the sentence about? Let's zoom in just a wee bit here. All right. It's about I, the speaker. I'm going to draw one line under the word I, and then I'm going to put S above it. Let's see if you can see that. It's a little light. Hold on just a second. Let's see if this shows up better in the video. There we go. Okay, so I is the subject. I put an S over it. Now, what is the verb or verb phrase? What did I do? A lot of times students will say I studied, and that's totally fine. I studied. That is the action verb of this sentence. But then what I like to do is I like to have them look back. Look back right before the word studied. Do you see any helping verbs? Some of them might spot have. Some of them might spot should. I'll say yes, good job. Should and have are actually both helping verbs. And so we're going to underline both of them along with studied. Studied is the action verb. Should have are the helping verbs that help support the main verb studied. It's telling the reader that they didn't study as hard and that they should have studied harder. They studied in the past, and they should have studied harder. The next example, we have been waiting for a while. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about we. The subject is we. I'm going to put an S over we for subject. And what were we doing? We were waiting. Do you spot any helping verbs before the word waiting, which is our action verb? Yes, have been. Have been needs to be underlined 2 times along with waiting because that is our verb phrase. Have been waiting. Now, I'm not going to show you how to diagram this in this video, but there is a way to diagram it, and that is something we'll go over in future videos. The next example of having more than one helping verb in a sentence is, Mom has been baking cookies all night for the bake sale. Who or what is that sentence about? It's about Mom. Underline Mom one time. Separate it from the rest of the sentence with this vertical line and label it with an S for subject. Now, what is the verb or verb phrase? You already know that this video is about multiple helping verbs, so it's going to be a verb phrase. The verb phrase is has been baking. What was she doing? She has been baking cookies. And so has been baking is the verb phrase that you want to underline 2 times. And baking is an action verb, so I put AV over baking. Now, we're going to move on from multiple helping verbs in a sentence to interrupted verb phrases. And the reason why that is important is because in video 3, the verb phrase and the main verb were side by side, just like the first 3 examples of this video. The main verbs were directly next to the main verb. I'm sorry, the helping verbs. The helping verbs were directly next to the main verb. So should have studied, would have been waiting, has been baking. These helping verbs and these main verbs are directly side by side. And I just want to bring it to your attention that that might not always be the case. So when the helping verb and the main verb are not directly next to each other, that is called an interrupted verb phrase. Now there's 2 main types of sentences that are going to have, or might have, most likely have, an interrupted verb phrase. And what I tell my students is, if it's an interrogative sentence, and if you remember back to different types of sentences, interrogative sentences are questions. And what would help you remember that is interrogative sounds like interrogate. If you know what an interrogation is, it's when people are asking you a series of questions. And so just think of interrogative, interrogate. That's going to kind of give you a clue that it's going to be a question. It's going to end in a question mark. So I tell my students, all interrogative sentences are going to have an interrupted verb phrase. Our first example is, would you like to join me for brunch? Who or what is the sentence about? It is you. That is our subject. Now, would you look at that? It's no longer the first word in the sentence like it has been in all of these previous examples. And the subject is actually embedded in the middle of the verb phrase. The verb phrase is actually would like. Okay? Like is going to be your action verb. Would is your helping verb. And this is the basic setup for your interrogative sentences. The next example, do they have gluten-free options? Do they have gluten-free options? The subject is they. Let's put an S over they. And what is the verb phrase? Well, it's being interrupted by the subject. The verb phrase is do have. And have is your action verb. Now, you can separate the subject like we have been doing if you like. But I just want to kind of give you a visual idea of how interrogative sentences are set up when it comes to verb phrases. They're going to be kind of straddling the subject. They're going to be on each side of the subject, the verb phrases. The helping verb will typically be on the left of the subject, and the main verb will be on the right. Now, why are we traveling south? Why are we traveling south? We is the subject, and are traveling. What are we doing? We are traveling. Traveling is the action verb. Are is the helping verb. It tells you that this is currently happening, okay? So this is the first group of sentences that are going to have an interrupted verb phrase, and it is interrogative sentences or questions. So if your sentence ends in a question mark, your verb phrase is probably going to be separated by the subject. So just keep that in mind. Now the second group of interrupted verb phrases occur because an adverb has been added to the verb phrase. And an adverb is a word that describes the verb, okay? How are you doing it? How often do you do it? So with the first example, we are not traveling south. Well, we is the subject, and it's back here at the beginning of the sentence. But the verb phrase, are traveling. What are we doing? We are traveling. Is still interrupted. Only this time it's not interrupted by the subject, it's interrupted by an adverb. The adverb is not. And actually, let me do ADV. ADV for adverb. And AV for action verb. Okay? So, what is this describing? It is describing the verb. Yes, so the adverb is always describing the main verb. How did they travel? How often did they travel? This one is explaining that they did not travel. I had to pause the video and edit really quick and change up the sentence just because this is an imperative sentence, and even though it does have an interrupted verb phrase, I want a completely separate video for imperative sentences, and you'll see why in the future. But we're just going to avoid imperative sentences for now and use a declarative sentence instead as an example. So this one says, he should not write on the desk. Who or what is the sentence about? He. He is the subject. Separate it from the rest of the sentence. And the verb phrase is should not. Oh, I'm sorry, should write. Should, our helping verb, and write, our main verb, which is an action verb. And I'm sticking strictly with action verbs for now, because again, that's going to be different types of verbs. That's an all different video that I'm going to have to make. Okay, so should write, our verb phrase, is interrupted by the word not, which is an adjective that describes write. How did he write? He did not write. And let's see if I can squeeze this over. I have never heard of this song. I have never heard of this song. Who or what is the sentence about? Let's separate that. And what is the verb or verb phrase? We already know it's going to be a verb phrase. The verb phrase is have heard. I'm going to label my action verb. This is an adjective that interrupts our verb phrase. Okay, how often have you heard the song? Never. You have never heard the song. On the back side of this page, I have more examples. My church has always offered to help the community. Who or what is the sentence about? It's about the church. That is the subject. Let's separate it. And what does the sentence do? What is the verb phrase? What does the church do? What is the verb phrase? The verb phrase is the church has offered. And has is the helping verb. It lets you know that they offered in the past, has offered. And always is the adverb that tells you how often they have offered. They always offered. Let's label this an action verb. He would sometimes babysit the kids in the neighborhood. Who or what is the sentence about? He. And what is the verb or verb phrase? The verb phrase is would babysit. He would babysit. Okay. How often does he babysit? Sometimes. He would sometimes babysit. AV for action verb. ADV for the adverb that describes the action verb. And then, of course, the helping verb always comes before the main verb, would. That lets you know that this is a past tense idea, okay? In the past, he would sometimes babysit. Next sentence. They can occasionally see the mountain from their house. What is the subject? It is they. And what do? They can see. The action verb is see. And how often can they see? Occasionally. That is the adverb. Okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and figure out these three on your own. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it, and then I'm going to mark the sentences, and hopefully what I marked down is the same thing you would have done. Okay, the first one, she has quietly rested in bed all day. This is how I would do it. I would mark she because that is my subject, and the verb phrase is has rested. Always underline the verb phrase twice. Rested is our main verb, and it's also an action verb, so I put AV. And quietly is our, not adjective, adverb, sorry. Quietly is our adverb that describes how she rested. How did she rest? She rested quietly. Next one, as a Girl Scout, I would eagerly go on adventures with my troops. Now don't let this beginning of the sentence trip you up. Girl Scout is not the subject of the sentence. The subject is actually I. What would I do? I would go. This is my main verb. This is the helping verb. And it is interrupted by this adverb, eagerly. And the last one, Jessie can gently place the baby in the crib. The subject is Jessie. What can Jesse do? He can place baby. How is he going to place the baby? He's going to place it gently. All right, let's do a 2-second review before I end this video. So today we learned that sometimes a sentence will have more than one helping verb, such as the first 3 examples. This had should and have, should have studied. This had have and been, for have been waiting. And this sentence had has and been, for has been baking. Okay, and of course you always underline the entire verb phrase 2 times. After learning about multiple helping verbs, we moved on to interrupted verb phrases. These are verb phrases that are not consecutive. The helping verb and the main verb are not directly next to each other, as you see up here and in past examples. They are interrupted by something. So I said the first group of sentences that are typically interrupted are interrogative sentences, also known as questions. If you see a question mark in your sentence, that means it's probably going to be interrupted. Your verb phrase will be interrupted. So, would you like to join me for brunch? Would, like, is the verb phrase. It's interrupted by the subject you. Do they have gluten-free options? Do have is the verb phrase. It is interrupted by the subject they. And why are we traveling south? Are traveling is the verb phrase. It's interrupted by the subject we. The next group of sentences that might have an interrupted verb phrase are sentences that have adverbs in them. Adverbs are words that describe the verb. So, we are not traveling south. It has an adverb in the middle of the verb phrase, not. Are traveling is the verb phrase. Not is an adverb describing how they travel. I have never heard of the song. Have heard is the verb phrase. It's interrupted by the oh, no, I made another mistake. I'm sorry, not adjective, adverb. It's interrupted by the adverb never, which describes how often or how they heard the song. How often have they heard it? They have never heard it. And a couple more examples. She has quietly rested in bed all day. The verb phrase is has rested, and it's interrupted by the adverb quietly. And Jesse can gently place the baby in the crib. The verb phrase in the sentence is can place, but it's being interrupted by the word gently. How can he place it? He can place the baby gently. Hopefully, you have a better idea now of how to spot not only a helping verb in a sentence, but multiple helping verbs in a sentence. Also, how to spot an interrupted verb phrase. Remember, the helping verb is always going to come before the main verb, even if it's being interrupted. Okay? All these are being interrupted. The helping verb is still before the main verb. All right, I'll see you in video 5, everyone.